I'm Roxanne.
And I'm Catherine.
It's two girls strong. It's two girls strong.
Today we're talking about getting older, the passage of time, that feeling of aging, really. For me, that feeling it used to be marked by a feeling of doom. Getting older, I used to associate it with this negative feeling of my time's coming to an end. And I think that's largely like societal. I don't think it's actually real. I especially felt it during the transition from my 20s to my 30s. Did you ever feel that kind of anxiety about getting older?
I think when I was like really young, I was always excited for like being an adult, being independent, like going to work, being cute, going to work, and all of that. And I think I was taught that 30 was like a turning point. 30 seemed very old. 30 seemed very old for me when I was a young girl. Um, but growing up and making friends with people of different ages, that started to shift. But I think like at age 25 to 28, I felt a lot of anxiety, especially around my career. Where am I going? What am I thinking about? And I think that period specifically, I felt a little bit of dread of aging, more about what am I doing with my life than getting older, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I had a similar feeling, especially being in the music industry, which is notoriously ageist. I felt that from the beginning. I always felt too old to be doing what I'm doing. And for full transparency, Roxanne and I were born the same year, and we're in our mid 30s now. But yeah, there was definitely a shift that happened for me from my negative thinking around getting older into reframing it as something positive. And I think really how it began for me was I hate to say this, but again, because I'm gay and I am attracted to women. And I have always been attracted to women who had a sense of confidence about themselves and had kind of like a sense of purpose and belonging. And often those were older women. And so that really made me question this kind of expiry date that they put on young girls. You know, we're told that your prime is in your early 20s. And I realize now that that is structured to benefit whoever wants to control those 20-something-year-olds.
And you know what? It's like the thing is, it's so based on the male gaze. And when we watch the news now, we really learn about how much the male gaze is focused on youth. And youth isn't even, I don't know, youth seems generous as like little girls, young girls, I'll be kind and say teenagers, early 20-year-olds being the benchmark of beauty. And beyond that, it's like you don't exist. You actually don't exist. And I think that's where that dread came from, that like perspective of expiry, and letting yourself go. It's like it's okay to just let yourself go after a certain time, or like if you're not letting yourself go, you're spending a lot of money on anti-aging.
Yes.
Because aging is just the worst thing that could happen to you.
Especially as a woman, it's the worst thing that can happen to you.
Exactly.
So how did you begin to kind of shift that way of thinking?
I think it started actually in my early 20s, just like being okay with my body, actually, like getting comfortable with my body changing. And towards the 30s, I think that's also when my journey of personal transformation and realizing that I was living on autopilot and following milestones and following a scripted milestone path of life, when that started changing. And I realized actually I can decide how I want my life to be. And that's when I think what really triggered my shifting of the way I perceived getting older. Yeah. And you?
For me, the similar feeling, but also as I've gotten older, there's a sense of calm that I started to feel, and started to feel more relaxed in who I am as a person, which gave just an overwhelming feeling of peace, an overall feeling of peace with who I am, and then that also led to kind of this peace I felt about getting older and embracing it and enjoying that I'm getting wiser and that I have more experience under my belt and that I have more life and I have yeah, it's just like really a beautiful thing to sit in and to actually to know that I've earned my time here instead of thinking, oh, I'm getting older, to reframe it and think, wow, I've earned this many years and this much wisdom and this much confidence in who I am. Um, and I don't know, just like sitting in it and enjoying it and owning it, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. And the reason I was smiling is because it's also like really shifting out of that deep insecurity. So it's like that teen years where it's like extreme. Preteen to teen is like extreme insecurity feelings. And then it's still there in your early 20s, like trying to figure out who you want to be friends with, who likes you, relationships working, not working, trying to figure out a career, but being a little bit unsure of yourself, like shifting into that as the answers slowly become more clear, you know who you vibe with, you become more independent from your parents emotionally and in other ways as well. So you really living life. You're just living life on your own. And it's been so nice to explore what adulthood could mean for me because I think I think it is different to what I expected it to be watching the adults around me when I was younger. I think it became like what I saw on like Girlfriends and things the show. And I love that movie. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also like kind of realizing that as you get older that no one really has it figured out, you know? That we are all just grown up children, essentially. Um, and yeah.
Yeah, we're all doing it for the first time. We're
Yeah.
all doing this for the first time. In fact, um, I was telling my mom that we saw a video about someone seeing their mother and realizing that she's also just a girl
Yes.
living life for the first time. And that really lifted a weight off my shoulders in my relationship and friendship with my mom. And realizing that just like me, she's doing life for the first time and we're all trying to navigate. We're learning a lot along the way, and the experience means a lot for sure. But we're still figuring things out, trying to learn, trying to do the best that we can, most of us. And that's been so wonderful. And for me, I think when I was younger, I thought adults looked a certain way,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like this with pigtails. And yeah, especially in this age, because in my life, all the adults had all their children by the age I am now, which is 35. I can't say. And I don't have any children. I don't plan to have children. I feel like I don't ever decide, like at this age, my hair must be this hairstyle. I must wear age appropriate clothes and things like that. Decide what, also like figuring out what the heck age appropriate even means for myself, and feeling youthful.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's like lots of ways that we are kind of flipping the script or redefining what getting older means, you know? Um, Similarly, for me, I didn't expect that I would be like this at this age, you know? So playful and free and I still feel like a kid. I still play PlayStation and do all the things I love. Um, of course, there's a seriousness to being older,
Mm.
but like, how does um, redefining getting older, like, how do you embrace that in your life specifically?
Well, I guess it's in that dance between like embracing, expressing my childhood self and also being very comfortable in my more serious adult self, taking responsibility of myself side of things. And I feel like there's a real um, flow between those sides of me. My playfulness shows up in my work because I can express myself with creativity when I'm engaging with people. But I also know that I'm someone to be taken seriously. So that is that is what I think is where I'm at, is like creating this dance that keeps flowing between those parts of
Mm,
myself, and but still at the same time knowing I'm the one that has to pay the bills, so I must figure out how to make money and make a living and move forward. I want a beautiful home, so I need to think about what that looks like and be the one to plan. I also need to be the one to book my own dentist appointments and my health checks and all of that, and being very serious about that. So I think for me, it's all about creating that flow between, and that's where I see the way I'm redefining adulthood for myself is creating a dance and flow between the ways I want to express myself as a young person, which I feel like I am, and I know I am also, because there's people who's a lot older than us who'll be like, what are you guys even talking about? Why are you talking like we in our 80s or something like that, right? So we are young and enjoying that, and also embracing the seriousness of adulthood and taking it one day at a time. How do you
mm,
think you're redefining adulthood for yourself?
mm. I mean, yeah, I agree. We are young. We
Mm,
are still young.
mm,
But the ways in which I'm redefining adulthood for myself is kind of, first of all, letting go and making peace with the fact that I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. And that took some serious. I kind of mourned my 20s for a while because I turned 30 during the pandemic.
yes.
And so I didn't really, like, I didn't feel like I said goodbye to my 20s, which were marked by partying and
Mm,
a raucous lifestyle, out every night, just doing the most. And now I value different things, you know. I want to wake up at 5 a.m. so that I can get into the gym by 6. And I try to drink a lot less alcohol.
mm,
I have a skincare routine now. I never would have been able to
mm,
have a skincare routine with that lifestyle. I'm just like a lot more mindful of my mental space. And it manifests even in my friendships. You know, I'm a lot more mature about like knowing who's a friend and who isn't a friend in my
mm,
life. Like, are we on the same frequency? Um, am I adding value to this person's life? Are they adding value to my life? And that translates even in the way I work. For me, who I work with is important, and having a good feeling with people. And these are all things that took time to learn, to kind of figure out how I want to precisely carve out my life to be. Um, so I think, yeah, it's I don't know if I'm like redefining adulthood, but I know that growing has meant that I am more in tune with myself and with how I want my life to look like, which is like a topic we keep coming back to a lot.
mm.
But I think that's part of getting to know yourself is like not having to learn the same lesson over and over and over again. Learning the lesson, understanding it, taking it in, and then applying it.
Yeah.
That for me is like really growing up.
Mm. Yes, I'm so glad you mentioned that because, like, those 2 years, it was like a 2 solid years of the pandemic, right? And it was our last years of of our 20s. and it feels like it just happened. Like we went from one phase to our life, and there was like this gap of a hectic experience, and then we were a lot older. We didn't have the same energy for what we used to want to do. We have our energy, we want to put our energy in different ways, spend
Yeah.
our energy in different ways. And yeah, that was quite intense. And then I look in the mirror and I can see in my face that I've aged. And I think that was actually a little bit difficult for me when it started, when I started getting my lovely smile lines, which I feel differently about them now versus my early 30s when it started showing up. And like one or two gray hairs started showing, like actual markers of aging and getting older. And I think that was a little bit tricky for me because of that fast forward, that period when I didn't like it wasn't a flow of time that happened because of the pandemic, but also because it didn't align. Well, I didn't know it was already happening, and I think that's what a lot of people say. It like it happened so quickly. You at one point in your 20s, and now I can't apply for, this is my last chance to apply for any youth category things, and then it's done. And I'm feeling like I'm only just getting to know myself and know where I want to go forward and how I want to live my life and where I want to move forward. And I think that besides the physical markers of aging, like what is categorized as young, being closed at this stage kind of is difficult for me to grapple with, because like, oh, this is now what I want to be going for. I want to, this is, I would actually want to apply for that now because I know myself well now.
Yes.
I trust myself. I know my skills and my experience. So I find that quite interesting actually. It's okay. Like I've come to the point where it's okay, I can accept it. But it was something I needed to sit with and realize like, oh, like this is happening now. It's not in my control as well.
Yes. And I think, like, speaking about that kind of sense of anxiety while also balancing, embracing getting older, for me, something that was really helpful is having friends, women specifically who are older than me, and seeing how they live their lives, full, amazing lives that only get better with time, and how beautiful and confident they are. Like that has really been a saving grace for me, and also something to look forward to. You know, I feel like now, because of the women in my life, I look forward to getting older because they make it look so exciting and beautiful. And I mean, it's not without its challenges, but it's really something that I like. I really look forward to my 40s now. I always was like scared of my 40s and my 50s, but seeing the way women are in their 40s and their 50s, I really think that we reach our prime then. Because there's just something about a woman in her 40s or in her 50s that is, I don't know, just so.
Chef's kiss.
Yes, it's amazing. Like, that's really when women are like in their bag.
You know, you're making me think about how our friends, we were in our late 20s and we had friends in their early 20s, and they would make fun of us about being old and being so old and things like that, which even at the time when I was 28 felt seemed so odd, because I and we both have always had friends of different ages,
Yeah.
and that never really came up for me to think
Yeah.
like if you are 5 years older than me to call you old. And now they in that age, and it's like, yes babe, it's not that old, like.
Yeah.
And it's also to recognize that there's a lot, that life is long and there's a lot of life to
Yes.
live. And when you're talking about the different examples that we have in our life and out there in the world, it's like you can, how your life is now is not going to be how your life is always going to be. And I even think of my mom, who's one of my closest friends, who after the loss of my dad completely created an incredible new life, reignited her social relationships and friendships, became an author, podcaster, and all of these things that honestly I would have, especially the podcaster and all of that side of things, not have expected. I couldn't have predicted that from my own perspective as a daughter, um, when she was married to my dad and all of that. And so it's incredible to see her now, um, just create a new life. And there's so many people in our lives who do that, or also just enjoy the slowness of retirement and like, I'm gonna retire now and enjoy that. I'm thinking now also about my auntie, who was the eldest daughter and gave a lot of herself as a young person, and now she's like, actually, you guys see to yourself, I'm chilling now. I'm not going to be doing this. And just seeing how people can shift the way they relate to themselves as well.
I think like ultimately it's about not making up too many rules for yourself. Like if you feel that your life's going to end at 30 or at 40, at 50, at 60, 70, 80, then you probably will, it probably will, you probably will end up not doing much. But if you maintain that excitement and curiosity throughout the decades, you never know what each decade can bring, right? And I think for me, the work is to maintain that curiosity and that idealism that I have still, or like the stars I have in my eyes, like never let that go. Because I think that enthusiasm is probably a muscle that needs to be worked. And yeah, just to maintain enthusiasm for life, because you never know what each decade's going to bring you. And I really do look forward to what each decade brings, and also the struggles, because I'm not saying I don't have anxiety around getting older. Of course I do. But also navigating that with like a new sense of confidence, because each year it is like another a little bit another notch on your belt of confidence.
I love that. And it's like, if we're having to like pay our own bills, figure out how to make a living and all of that, like the seriousness that comes with adulthood, then at least we can live life on our own terms and figure out what that means at each stage of our lives, right? Like, if we in this dumpster economy, wild world, really challenging times, as all times seem to be, the least we can do for ourselves as we grow and age is figure out what our own terms are and then actually just live on those terms.
Well said.
Okay. Thank you. Looking forward to hearing what people have to say in the comments as well.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to you getting older and to me getting older.
Thanks for joining us on the Two Girls Strong podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can connect with us on Instagram at Two Girls Strong or email us at twogirlsstrong@gmail.com, and that's with one S. See you next time!